Are you ready to go into the imaginal act? Are you ready to immerse yourself into your imagination? If you are ready for that, and if you're ready to follow Neville Goddard's teachings in regards to the imaginal act, and you at the same time want to manifest large sums of money, wealth, and financial freedom, then this episode is for you. Because today I want to share 7 imaginal acts with you for manifesting large sums of money. And of course, these are just examples. If you want to manifest something else, then of course you can go into the imaginal act for that. But today I want to share some ideas with you. Ideas that I used in my personal life to manifest abundance, and that some of my most successful clients have used to manifest large sums of money. And it all starts with your bank statement. And now you might be saying, yeah, but I want to visualize something a little bit more creative. I want to visualize something a little bit more out of the world. I want to visualize something with flying colors and cars and super yachts and everything in between. I mean, if you want that, then more power to you. But always remember that sometimes the simplest forms of imagination can lead to the best results, because it's easier for you to imagine these scenes and to do it over and over again. And especially when you're starting out on this journey, I personally believe choosing an imaginal act that is not too complicated, that doesn't include 10 different cars and 5 different color variations, might be the better choice. And I manifested large sums of money. In fact, I manifested hundreds of thousands of dollars simply by visualizing my bank statement, by visualizing a certain amount of money in my bank account. So what you can do is to simply imagine how you look at your laptop and you go in your online banking, and you then see the number that you want to have there, the number that you want to have in your bank account. You visualize it, and of course you then feel it. Always remember, with each of these imaginal acts I share with you, that feeling is and has always been the secret. And then you feel excited, you feel abundant, you feel joyful, you look at it and you want to scream like, yeah, I made it. And then you see it again and you see the numbers, and you then feel what these numbers truly mean, because the numbers itself could be seen as just numbers, but they have a deeper meaning for you. They represent freedom, they represent safety, they represent your ability to buy whatever the heck you want. So it's amazing to use your bank account statement as an imaginal act. But what you can also do is to feel the weight of money. And now you might be saying, huh? What do you mean by that? Well, what I don't mean is that, like Scrooge McDuck, you want to jump into a sea of money, and then just like in the Family Guy episode, if you know Family Guy, I mean, I have a very politically incorrect humor, but in Family Guy there's a scene where Peter Griffin then jumps into the pond of money and he breaks all his bones because, well, the money is quite hard and you can't just swim in it. So that's something that you don't want to visualize. I don't know where I was going with this, but anyway, let's continue. Let's get serious. So what you want to visualize is to, for example, hold a stack of money in your hands and feel the weight of the bills and the texture of the paper. Experience a sensation of wealth as you imagine having even more money and more abundance. And of course, when you then manifest your first money, then you can of course get some cash, put it in your hand, feel it, and you truly go into that feeling of being wealthy by holding the money in your hand. This is also an imaginal act that you can go into, and especially when it comes to this imaginal act, it is always a good idea, if you have some money, to actually support yourself in the imaginal act by putting real cash in your hands. It might not be the amount of cash that you actually want to have, but by then feeling it, the texture of the money, by smelling it, you can make the imaginal act very, very real. And now let's talk about your dream home. This is a beautiful imaginal act for manifesting money. In fact, it's one of my most favorite ones, because if you close your eyes and you visualize yourself living in your ideal home, surrounded by comfort, and you go in great detail, at least as much detail as you want, you can manifest your dream home. In fact, one of the most amazing and most remarkable stories I've ever heard when it comes to manifesting a dream home was from Drake. Yep, I'm talking about the world famous Canadian rapper, because Drake once Googled, if I remember the story correctly, he Googled houses with amazing pools. And he then, a couple of years later, manifested the exact house with the exact pool that he put as a wallpaper on his desktop. And this is just an incredible story when you really think about it. It's an amazing story. It's an uplifting story. It's a story that every time I think about it, I'm like, wow, that's the power of manifestation. And you can go in as much detail as you want. You can visualize the furniture, you can visualize a pool if there is a pool, or a home gym, or a home theater, whatever you want in your dream home. You can visualize it and you can feel yourself into it. Always keep in mind, I want to mention again, that feeling is the secret. So don't forget the feeling. And then when it comes to you experiencing financial freedom, you can in fact use an imaginary act that for you represents financial freedom. And well, this can be anything. For me, it was, for example, simply picturing myself at the beach from the first person perspective, raising my arms in the air and being really happy. And for me, this picture, even though there was no bank account statement in it, there was no physical money in it, it represented for me the financial freedom to live anywhere I want at any time, and to simply enjoy my life, the way I want to enjoy it, to live my life the way I want to live it, and to, whenever there's winter in Europe, to then be somewhere warm, somewhere where the weather's beautiful. And now I'm living this life, I'm enjoying this life, and this is the beauty of manifesting. And back then, for me, this picture was so incredibly powerful, because it gave me the feeling of, yes, I made it, I truly made it. So imagine for a moment, imagine what it would feel like for you to be financially free, and what kind of picture for you represents this feeling of financial freedom. It can simply be you waking up in the morning, opening your eyes, being really happy. If for you it represents the state of the wish fulfilled that you are financially free, then the picture is right for you. And what you can also imagine, and this leads me to the next point, is to give generously. Because if you visualize sharing your wealth with others, you are visualizing true abundance. And this imaginal act shows you that you have reached a point where you are truly abundant, because the act of giving in itself is a representation of abundance. Because if you would not truly feel abundant, you wouldn't give. You give because you know that you're so abundant and more money will flow to you. So even if you would give everything away that you own, you know for a fact it will come back to you. It will come back to you in large quantities. And that's why this imaginal act is so incredibly powerful. And I've experienced this transformation now with so many of the amazing people who joined the Abundance Reality Shift coaching program, which is my 8-week one-on-one coaching program where we have 8 individual one-on-one coaching sessions together. And I teach you step by step all the different techniques, the exact blueprint that I use to manifest my financial freedom. And so many of my coaching clients in the beginning, when I was telling them about how at some point they will reach that state where they just want to give, they looked at me and said, yeah, I mean, maybe, but at the moment I don't have much to give. But then once they reach that state, during our coaching journey, and sometimes even weeks and months after the coaching journey, they reached a state where they were truly abundant. Then I got these WhatsApp messages and the emails of, Sebastian, I just gave this amount of money to charity, or I just helped this person. And that's the natural state of abundance when you're truly abundant. And the more and more abundance you attract into your life, the more you want to give. And what you might also want to visualize is how multiple streams of passive income are flowing to you. I, for example, am now in the process of visualizing myself being a successful real estate investor. You could also visualize yourself simply receiving monthly payments, even without thinking about what exactly the payments are or where they're coming from. Remember, it's so much more important to visualize what you want instead of how the money will flow to you. But I believe that this is also an amazing imaginal act that you can go into if you want to become truly abundant. And if you're ready to work with me on becoming truly abundant, then I invite you to go to affirmationtomanifestation.com/abundance, or to simply click on the first link in the description to find out more about the 8-week Abundance Reality Shift coaching program. You can then also, of course, have a look at what awaits you in each of the individual weeks, and feel free to watch all the video testimonials from the amazing people who I've worked with on manifesting their abundance. And now I want to share the 7th Imaginal Act with you that I also used, and that I even used in a weird way, in a different way, with a friend of mine back then who was quite confused. So you don't have to use the Imaginal Act with a person, you can use it just in your imagination, and that's seeing yourself being congratulated on your abundance. This is an amazing way of manifesting, because by you seeing yourself being congratulated on being a millionaire, for example, then you put yourself in the position of being a millionaire. You put yourself in the position of, I'm already living in that end state, because, well, otherwise my family and my friends who have seen my Imaginal Act wouldn't have congratulated me. And I actually did that with a friend who had no connection with the law of assumption whatsoever. And I just told him, yeah, just congratulate me when I call you. And he was like, what? Have you lost your mind? So you might want to be careful when it comes to practicing this Imaginal Act with somebody in practice, but you can definitely practice it in your imagination. And that's what I wanted to share with you today. And I also want to briefly invite you that if you want to find out more about the individual coaching sessions I offer, then you can go to affirmationtomanifestation.com/coaching, or click on the second link in the description.